Hello, today we're going to talk about how do we analyze a stock. Now, this is not going to be your regular analyzing. We're going to do a lot more than look at the numbers, but we will consider the numbers as well. Okay, so what we're going to look at today is what are the financials, which again, the numbers, what market or industry is it in, is there any trends happening in the world regarding your stock industry, and you. It'll make a bit more sense in just a second, and we'll talk about how we mix all this into your portfolio. So, this is pretty important here. You want to understand first the stock. What are the financials? What are the numbers? And then you want to break down what industry is it in. From there, how does your stock and industry serve the world itself? And then you again, coming back, you are pretty important in this whole mix. And again, I will explain this in just a minute. Okay, so I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you what to buy. I've lost and made thousands in multiple different investments and different, categories and industries. And if you have any questions, take a look at the link below. It's my Discord. You can reach out to me one-on-one and we can chat all you want. Okay, so stocks. First thing you got to understand is when you own a stock, you directly own part of that company. Okay, very small amount, but you do own it. So if it goes up, if it goes down, if they have profits, if they have good revenue, if there's an event that happens, if the CEO dies, okay, your stock may go up or down. Another thing you need to understand is a good company doesn't mean it's a good investment. So this is Ford, okay? This is Ford from 2002 to now, 2026. If you see, Ford has jumped between $5 and $15 for the last 25 years. Okay, they've made more money, they've done better, they have new products, but the stock hasn't really changed. It wouldn't have made you money. If we look at Apple during the same amount of time, look at this from 2002 to now, it would have went from $1 to $250. There, you would have made a lot of money. These are the same things. In the same time, they both, did well and changed the world and impacted the world, but one made you a ton of money, and one, you kind of went back and forth. Okay, so what you need to understand before you get into this is instead of just listening to some random guy pitch you a stock, do you understand who their customers are and how they make money? Who are they serving and how they get paid? If we take Apple again, for example, they've got the iPhone, which we know about, but they've got the App Store, Apple Music, and they sell to public, they sell to organizations. I know they sell to the government, they sell to big companies. They have a lot of customers and they make money a lot of different ways. Now, we said we'd touch into the numbers. It's going to be very quick, but you want to understand the financial health of the company. Do they have revenue, profits, debt, insiders? And you can do this by looking at finviz.com. It's a free and it's great, and I'll show you a little screenshot of that. Now, when it comes to revenue, that's just the money they make, the money coming in. Profit, they have to spend money to make money. After they've made money and spent it, are they profitable? Last is the debt. Every company has debt, and there's something called a PE ratio, which we'll go through very quickly. Realistically, it's just what is the company's value, on the market divided by how much money they make. Okay, so this is a cutout of FinViz. You can see they have so many different numbers. I blurred out most of them because we're going to focus on these ones. So like I just said, the value, which is 3.8 trillion, divided by how much they make, which is 112 billion. Those two create a PE of 34, which is what we have here, price to earnings. So it is the price, of the company, the value of the company divided by how much they make, their earnings. Okay, that's another pretty important thing. It just shows, are you overpaying is there a lot of hype, or are you paying for, a company that's making a lot of money? Besides that, the growth and the industry, right? There's a lot of different kinds of industries. And within this, each stock has their own competitive advantage. Why are they better than the other ones? That's for you to figure out and, analyze. This just goes back to, do you know your stock? Okay, so the industry, there's a lot of different industries. The ones in green are the ones that we see the most. They tend to be some of the biggest. Right now, tech, all our big, Apple, Microsoft, all those ones, those are pretty big. Those are our tech. Competitive advantage, these are some examples. Brand network, if we go back to Apple again, they make it extremely difficult to leave. They make it, that you can't switch your photos over to Samsung, and that's all, designed for a reason. Again, these are some of the industries, most of the industries. And when you go on FinViz, you can filter by industry. And these are some of the markets that you can be in. So, Apple buys their minerals and their parts. They buy their minerals from somewhere. They have their own factories to assemble the parts, and they sell it to us, which are the consumers. Now, news, trends, what's going on in the world. The most important thing if you're looking to make money, especially in a stock, is are you following the money? If all the money's going somewhere, right? If there's a new hype, that's usually what is going to make you a lot. That's what's going to go up a lot. A lot of times it's hype. You're following hype. That's how you're doing these trades and making good money with stocks. An example right now is oil. We just had a big issue with Venezuela and Iran and the U.S., and all these things are causing oil to go up and down. And there's been some decent money opportunities with oil recently. Last thing, I kept saying what do you know? Are you a coder? Do you understand Apple's code? Do you work in a specific industry where you have to use iPhones a lot? How does this stock tie to you? Because the most important thing is, are you following the trends and news? You want to understand what's going on. You want to understand more than just the surface level of the stock, because when things pivot, it makes sense to you. You get that a new release might be good or bad. You understand the software. You understand the process or the screen or I don't know what. But there's something about the stock that you understand more than the average person, and that's where you might make some good money. So what are your skills? What is your knowledge? Is it involved in your work? Do you have to... For me, working with the government, I use Microsoft all day. That's why I'm a big investor in Microsoft. I use Teams. I use all these other things. So why not invest in Microsoft? I'm going to know if my employer cuts their contract. There's probably other employers that are cutting their contracts. That might be a good sign to get out. Okay, so how do your interests and work and skills tie into what you're buying and potentially trading? How would you integrate this into a portfolio? Okay, well, you need to know if you have a low risk, medium, or high risk portfolio. And realistically, you probably want to blend your stock trades with some ETFs. Now, again, I'm not telling you what to buy or not to buy, but this is a way that you might not be as risky. It's a little more diversified. All right. Again, if there's something you're looking to buy, if you have any questions, you can let me know. This is a little summary. You want to take a look at the type of business, their customers, their debt, their income. These are the numbers. You want to know what industry are they in? Is that industry trending? What is the ties with the news? If, again, AI right now is being pushed by politics and politicians. So it's been a good trade. Last is you. Do you understand the company more than the average person? There's the surface level information. We know that Apple sells iPhone, but a lot of people don't know about the code. They don't know what happens on the back end. This is where you might have an advantage. Is it mixed with your skills, your interests, your passions? This is where you'll do great. Again, if you want to reach out to me, take a look at the link below. I have a Discord and we can chat whenever you'd like. Have a wonderful day.